early Bitcoin entrepreneurs are very quick to kind of dismiss any other blockchain tech or any other blockchain token. But I think that there's a world where everything kind of moves on chain, and that there is actually a proper use case for these other blockchains. And there's amazing tech being developed, and there's a lot of innovation happening.
Hi everyone, Fraser Matthews here, President and CEO of Netcoins, and as part of the Big Interview series in partnership with Blockchain North. Today we have CEO of SonicStrategy, Mitch Demeter. Mitch, great to see you.
Hey Fraser, thanks for having me on.
What is the biggest problem that SonicStrategy is solving for crypto investors today?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think ultimately, my career has kind of been focused on providing access. And, I started personally with providing access to Bitcoin through Bitcoin ATMs. Second stage, built exchanges in Canada, providing kind of access for retail investors through their traditional bank accounts, connecting their bank accounts and buying crypto that way. And right now, SonicStrategy is providing exposure to some of these assets like Sonic, that are a little bit further down the risk curve, a little bit lesser known, but giving investors access through their traditional brokerage accounts, where they can invest just like buying any other equity. We've been deploying validators on the network and building up that side of the business. We've also been deploying some capital internally into different DeFi strategies. And right now we're looking at some strategic investments that we could make to support some builders and projects that are in the Sonic ecosystem. And so ultimately, by investing in SonicStrategy, you're kind of getting that more holistic overview and exposure to the entire ecosystem.
Switching gears a little bit, we've seen, a lot of different treasury companies spring up over the last year, whether it's Solana and Sol Strategies, Luxfolio, with Litecoin, or a number of the Bitcoin treasury companies. You've gone down a slightly different path. Maybe tell us about your approach and what really differentiates you in the market and on the exchange.
Yeah, definitely. So, what we saw in the digital asset treasury market is that it's gotten fairly crowded around a key set of assets. And we wanted to go a little bit further kind of down the list here, where, we're slightly further down the risk curve, and we're dealing with an asset that we think is underappreciated and for the most part undiscovered. And so when we were setting this business up, the simplest thing would have been to go and set up another Bitcoin treasury company or another Solana treasury company. But we think that that's where the gap is in the market, and this is what's kind of been resonating with our investors, is that they can get exposure to Sonic and the ecosystem when it's sitting down closer to like $1 billion market cap. When usually you don't see these types of products being built for a blockchain until it's a lot more mature and a lot of those early gains are gone. We didn't see this start to happen around Solana until it's in around $100 billion market cap. Obviously, Ethereum, there's a ton of them, but again, they're sitting at around a $500 billion market cap. And so, by building this infrastructure here and bridging that gap now, we're providing these investors with exposure, before these early gains are gone.
Amazing. And how do you see your role and the team's role, as strategic advisors like Sonic, helping to evolve the industry and helping to evolve, knowledge about us, and the token itself?
Yeah, we really bridge the gap for them right now. And so, they're focused on building out this core infrastructure, building the ecosystem. And I think that we'll likely see a shift in their focus to being kind of more institutional focused in the near future here. But right now we're kind of acting as that institutional sales arm for them, and helping, put this asset and this blockchain on the radar of these large institutions.
So, Mitch, you've got one of the more impressive Bitcoin backgrounds, of anyone. You've had the first Bitcoin ATM in the world, and quite a legacy as a builder. What's one lesson that you've carried from your experience as a Bitcoin pioneer?
Ultimately, I think that the space just continues to evolve, and it moves very, very quickly. Um, Deep down, I think that the issue or the problem that Bitcoin is solving is very different from the problems or the opportunities that these other blockchains are trying to solve. And I think that it's important to continue to differentiate those two. I continue to think of Bitcoin as, the base layer here, and ultimately the reserve currency. But there's still a lot of exciting tech, And I think that often, early Bitcoin entrepreneurs are very quick to kind of dismiss any other blockchain tech or any other blockchain token. But I think that there's, a world where everything kind of moves on chain, and that there is actually a proper use case for these other blockchains, and there's amazing tech being developed, and there's a lot of innovation happening, and sometimes people are quick to throw the baby out with the bathwater here, but I think keeping a curious mind and continuing to learn and watch this innovation as it unfolds can be a lot more exciting than just dismissing this entire asset class.
And Mitch used to be, a member of Big Digital Assets and the president of Netcoins in your past. Since then, you propelled yourself into a global role. But tell me, what are some of the trends in the Canadian crypto ecosystem that you're keeping an eye on?
There's still a lot of room for innovation there. I think that we've been seeing a little bit of a trend with some of these global players kind of returning to the Canadian market, which I think is good to see. There was a period of time where I was a little bit worried about the Canadian market and its role in the global landscape. But I'm optimistic about the future of crypto in Canada, and I think that the regulators have been doing a good job there.
And Mitch, by the end of 2026, Sonic Strategies will be known for blank.
SonicStrategy is really known for being, the direct proxy, the direct exposure vehicle for Sonic blockchain as it continues to grow and gain attention and traction on a global scale. And we'll be there to help provide investors with safe, compliant, simple exposure.
Amazing. And Mitch, where can people follow along to your progress?
Yeah, they can follow me directly on X. My handle is at Mitchell Demeter, and they can follow Sonic Strategy. All of our links are directly on our website, sonicstrategy.io.
Amazing. Well, Mitchell Demeter, thanks for joining us today on the Big CEO interview series. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Fraser.